right up there in the highlands of Ethiopia. And then they have an ancient church, the Church of St. Mary, a cathedral actually of St. Mary of Zion, where the ark apparently was kept for hundreds and hundreds of years. Before that it was kept elsewhere, and then now it's been moved into a chapel that stands next to St. Mary of Zion Cathedral. And that chapel is guarded by armed men. The whole town is an armed camp that is protecting what they believe to be the Ark of the Covenant, but it's guarded particularly by one guy who is the official guardian of the Ark, and he's elected by other monks to be the guardian of the Ark, and several of them have run away when they get that election, because once you're elected as the guardian of the Ark, when the previous one has died, you're going to be kept in that chapel forever. You'll never be allowed to leave it. So they're close to whatever this object is. They're close to it. And I met 3 of them over a succession of years, because their mortality is once they're appointed, they die very soon. And they all had these cataracts over their eyes, and they all blamed the object in that chapel, whether or not it's the Ark, for causing their blindness.
Wow.
So it's
and no one is going in there and trying to get to the bottom of it. They won't let you.
They won't let you. They won't let you.
Can
to
we bribe them?
No.
It seems like someone should go look.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Yeah.
What's in there? I mean, if we really find out the Ark of the Covenant was an actual object.
I think it was an actual object.
And you think it was some nuclear something or another? Like,
I don't know what it was. I think it's what is rightly described as an out-of-place artifact, because if you look at the description in the book of Exodus, the very precise dimensions of it, I think in modern terms we'd say 3 feet 9 inches long by 2 feet 3 inches high and wide. It's got a layer of gold, it's got a layer of wood, it's got another layer of gold. It's very precisely specified, like a blueprint in the book of Exodus. And then it does all this stuff. It shoots out jets of fire and kills completely innocent people. It kills 50,000 Philistines in the city of Ashdod when they briefly capture it from the Israelites and make the mistake of treating it like a tourist object. And they open the Ark of the Covenant and look inside, and suddenly everybody in that city is dying. And what they're dying of is cancerous tumors. This is described in the Old Testament. So it's intriguing that this object is so precisely specified and is reported to have done these terrible things.
It's just insane that we know where it is.
Well, we know that I believe Ethiopia has a very strong claim to it, but that's all I can say because I've not seen it myself. I've been right outside the door of that sanctuary chapel several times. But
did you bring a Geiger counter?
No. That would be a good thought.
Yeah. Imagine it was going nuts as you got close.
That would be a good thought.
I mean, it's not like it's going to be, if it's radioactive, it's not like it's going to be contained just this one small area. You're going to have traces of it that leak out.
That's true. It would be a good way
especially if people are getting cataracts from being in the room with it.
Yeah.
And so 3 different people you talk to have cataracts from that.
Yeah, and they all blame the Ark. And one of them, it's a resonant phrase, which sticks in my memory. I asked him why, and he said the Ark is a thing of fire. Just that.
Did he describe it to you?
He did describe it as a box, rather like the biblical description, unsurprisingly. But
did he describe what it looked like the outside of it?
Gold.
Gold.
Mm-hmm. Gold.
Wow.
And of course, gold is a very good insulator against radiation. I don't want to go too far down this track. To me, the fascinating thing is that Ethiopia is the only country in the world that actually claims to have the Ark of the Covenant. That it's central to religion and culture in Ethiopia today. That there's much to support that argument, particularly in the form of the Falashas, the Ethiopian Jews, and their very ancient traditions about how they got to Ethiopia in the first place. In context of all of that, I think Ethiopia has a very good claim. Very interesting claim, and that's why I wrote a book about it.
That one to me is just like, we know where it is.
Yeah.
That one to me is so crazy that someone is keeping that information from the rest of the humans.
Yeah.
Because if we found out the Ark of the Covenant was in fact a real object and we know where it is and it does match the description in the Bible, that kind of changes everything. Now all of a sudden the Bible is not just stories and myths. The Bible is some sort of a historical record.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget that one of the world's best known flood myths also comes from the Bible, which is the flood of Noah.
Right.
Which again is part of this worldwide tradition of which I am absolutely convinced Atlantis should be understood as a part of that worldwide tradition of a global flood. And the loss of a former civilization. And again, it's one of the reasons why I've done the work I've done over these years.
So when you're doing season 2, what did you learn from doing season 1 that you applied to season 2? Was there anything different about the way you went about it?
Definitely. I have learned from the criticisms of archaeologists, and one of the first things that became very clear to me, and they're absolutely right, is we need more indigenous voices in this series. And that's what we've made sure to do. We have an amazing indigenous archaeologist from Easter Island. We spent quite a bit of time filming in Easter Island, and it's this series doesn't do country by country episodes. It's all merged together. Different bits of the story come together in each episode, but a good chunk of it is on Easter Island, and there Sonia Hoa Cardinali is an indigenous Easter Islander. Her married name is Cardinali because she married an Italian guy, and she gave us incredible material on Easter Island, and she revealed that she and her team have found what are called banana phytoliths. Now, phytoliths are a minute part of the banana plant. They've excavated them from a crater in Easter Island, and they've found that those are 3,000 years old. Now, this is interesting for two reasons. Firstly, bananas do not propagate naturally. You can't get bananas to Easter Island without human beings bringing them there. That's how they got there. And secondly, the date that she's found 3,000-year-old banana phytoliths in Easter Island blows out of the water the notion that Easter Island was only settled 1,000 years ago or less, which is the current idea of archaeology. Again and again, we've had indigenous guests on the show who have brought real important information to it. Amongst those geoglyphs in Brazil, we had a member of the Apurina people who is a caretaker for those geoglyphs, and he talked to us about what is special to him about the geoglyphs, about how this is a sacred place to his tribe, and how they still gather there today, and how they understand that it's somehow connected to the journey to the next world, to the journey of life after death. And that then rings a bell in my mind of that whole idea of a journey to the afterlife and a portal through which we pass into that other realm. We find that right there in Brazil.
So if the Easter Island, if the island was settled at least 3,000 years ago, do we know where from?
Well, 3,000 years ago, you're still within the period of the Polynesian expansion. This is not the Ice Age. This is more recent.
Right.
It's early in the Polynesian expansion rather than late.